So, my dear friend, the thoughts you think, the words you say, and the actions you take or do not take are important. Welcome to the Midlife Reinvention Podcast, a podcast helping women in career and life transitions achieve clarity on their next steps so they can transform uncertainty into an energizing next chapter. I'm your host, Kavita Ahuja, and the founder of It's My Time Now Coaching. If you're wondering what's next in your career or life, you are in the right place. Through solo and guest episodes, you'll gain practical tips, tools, and inspiration to help you uncover blocks, gain confidence, and be, do, and have what you want. I rediscovered myself after the age of 50, and I know you can too. It's my time now to help you do just that. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in. Do you ever feel like you're not good enough despite all that you've achieved? And are you ready to break free from the self-doubt that's holding you back and truly embrace your potential? If so, this next episode of the Midlife Reinvention Podcast will give you the practical tips on how you can actually become more confident as you face your career or life transitions. I'll dive deep into why accomplished individuals like yourself may often struggle with confidence. In this episode, you'll learn how to transform your thoughts, where you'll learn actionable steps to turn negative self-talk into positive affirmations, which will boost your confidence daily. You'll learn how to speak with authority and discover simple changes to your communication habits that will make you more assertive and confident. And you'll learn how to take bold actions, where you will understand how facing your fears head on can lead to incredible personal growth and new opportunities. Don't miss out on these transformative insights and take control of your confidence levels today. Let's hit play now and let's get going. And don't forget to stay till the end for a special offer for just being here. Welcome to another episode of the Midlife Reinvention Podcast. I hope that you're doing really well and enjoying your summer and taking some time for yourself and spending time with those you love as well. It's interesting because it feels like my last month has been just super busy. And I think it's because I'm really excited about all the things that lie ahead. So I'm starting to plan now, which makes things extra busy. So what are you looking forward to for yourself, either this summer or in the fall and winter ahead? I'd love to know. Just drop me a line and let me know. I'm always curious to know what my listeners are up to and what they're excited about in the future. So, I've had the privilege of coaching many wonderful women, and there is no greater fulfillment for me to help them in their journey of transformation. I want to read a testimonial from one of my recent clients because it really touched me, and I want to really thank her for such kind words. Here is what HB had to say. Kavita Ahuja stands out as an exceptional executive coach, providing crucial support and clarity, especially during challenging times. She has a remarkable ability to ignite the innate desire for growth and purposeful living in her clients, guiding them to discover their ikigai. Her coaching approach is a perfect blend of compassionate listening and empowering challenges, fostering a safe and supportive environment for personal growth and exploration. She excels at asking the right questions and offering clear, insightful guidance, making each session a transformative experience for her clients. For anyone seeking a coach who is deeply committed to their personal and professional development, Kavita is an outstanding choice. I honestly got very emotional when I received this, and I read this to you not to boast, but to share that receiving reviews like this really helps me to build my confidence. Not only that I am on the right track, and also because I am doing what I am meant to do, but also because it gives me confidence in my abilities that I am doing a good job. We all need that boost of confidence sometimes. So I would really encourage you, if you appreciate what someone has done for you or that someone has made a difference in your life, tell them. We all need to hear that our work is appreciated and valued. So take the time to do that. It only creates positive energy in the world, and positive energy allows for more creation, abundance, and opportunities. Would you agree? So, this topic of confidence, I believe, is so important that I'd really like to address it again here today. Most of the people who come to me for guidance are extraordinary people. They've accomplished so much. They've done so many great things. Yet, despite all of this, they still lack the confidence to move forward in what they really want to do. It's fascinating to hear incredibly accomplished women, for example, who still lack the confidence in one way or another. And if that is you, please know that this is perfectly normal. So, why do we lack confidence? As I've talked about before, a lack of confidence really boils down to not feeling good enough about ourselves. It is a feeling of lack in some way, and it takes the form of, for example, I'm not good enough, I'm not qualified enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not strong enough or creative enough. All those enoughs or not enoughs that we make up in our minds. When these thoughts come in our way, we in turn promote negative or catabolic energy in our lives, which causes us to stop in our tracks. We call these inner critics or gremlins, and I've talked in detail about our inner critics and gremlins and how to reduce their impact. In fact, you can go specifically to season 4, episode 16, where I do discuss this in detail. You can also download my Negative Energy Blocks Guide, which will walk you through what a gremlin or inner critic is and how to lessen its impact in your life. But what do we do once we do lessen the impact of the inner critic or gremlin in our lives? How do we practically gain the confidence to move forward? In the episode that I published on July 1st, I gave you some general guidance, and then I'll just review it here. The first is to celebrate your accomplishments. Learn how to appreciate and celebrate your successes to boost your self confidence. Number 2 was to commit and develop courage. Understand the importance of commitment and courage in making significant life changes. And the third was to build new capabilities. Discover how developing new skills and capabilities can enhance your confidence and really open up new opportunities. But today, I'd like to give you practical tips on how the thoughts that we think, the words that we say, and the actions that we take or do not take, in fact, undermine our confidence, and practical tips on how to remove these undermining habits in our lives. As Oprah Winfrey says, it is confidence in our bodies, minds, and spirits that allows us to keep looking for new adventures. So let's start with the thoughts that we think. As the American psychologist and writer Gay Hendricks says, we keep ourselves so tied up in regretting the past and fearing the future that we don't have any energy left to figure out who we are and what we want to create right now. I've referred to the fact that many times that it took me at least 3 years before I actually left my corporate job, before I decided to leave and become an entrepreneur. Why? Because I was afraid of going outside of my comfort zone and trying something new. I was afraid at failing at my new venture, and I was afraid of what people would think of my decision. And the reason we don't challenge ourselves or have confidence in what we can do is fear. Fear is a very real emotion, but often it is something that we make up in our thoughts about a future or projected outcome or something that's going to happen in the future that we just can't control. Fear causes us to lose confidence in ourselves. But what are we really afraid of? We're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of failure. We're even afraid of success. We are afraid of judgment, such as what will people say? And we are afraid of the consequences of our actions. What will happen if? When you think about the next steps that you want to take right now, what fears do you have which are causing you to lose confidence? If you could, and if you're not driving or walking or anything like that, pause the audio right now and take a moment to answer the following reflection questions. You can always come back to it later, but I'd like you to do these questions right now and you can journal them in your journal. So the first question is ask yourself, what are you really afraid of? What fears do you have right now which are causing you to lose confidence? And then ask yourself, number 2, are these fears real or imagined? So go back to these exercises and they're very useful just to even just think about what is it that you really are afraid of? And so there are several ways that we can reverse the thoughts that we think around fear. The first is to really acknowledge that your fear is there and it's real. Don't beat yourself up about it, but acknowledge the presence of the fear. And then, secondly, ask yourself, why am I really thinking these thoughts? Are they actually true? According to a previous guest on my podcast, Dr. Caroline Brookfield challenged these thoughts through what she calls objective risk assessment, or what's the worst that could happen? I like to ask my clients instead, what's the best thing that could happen if I did this? The third thing is to understand why this fear is here. And 9 times out of 10, it is to protect you and keep you safe. Rather than succumb to the safety of this fear, use this fear as fuel to move you forward. And the fourth way is to take action despite your fears. I have spoken to so many women and experienced this myself that by taking action, taking that first step, which leads into the next step, you gain confidence in yourself. As an example, I would never have imagined I'd be hosting a podcast 5 years ago. But by putting myself out there and publishing the first one, I took the action and faced my fears. And the result is that now this is my 125th episode. By facing our fears and taking action, you will be amazed how confident you will begin to feel. The next thing, and the fifth thing, is to remain in present moment awareness. This is from the teachings of Eckhart Tolle, who says that if we live in the present moment and don't worry about future consequences of our actions, we experience less fear. And finally, as Tara Moore describes, unhook from praise and criticism, meaning why do we care so much about what other people think or judge? What if we unhooked ourselves from other people's judgments? How would that make us feel? So those were the area of the things that we think that undermine our confidence. The next main area is where we undermine our confidence in the words that we say. As women, especially, we're often programmed to play small. From when we were children, we were often told to be seen but not heard, for example. Not always, of course, but our upbringing and society has caused many of us to lose confidence in ourselves and our abilities. On the other hand, if as children we were encouraged to speak up and use our words, we tend to be more confident as adults. By learning how to communicate with authority, we can begin to stand up for ourselves and gain confidence. This is really evident in some of the words that we use, and I've experienced this myself, and we all do this in our everyday conversations or in our writing. But if we start to take notice of some of these undermining speech habits, we can start to eliminate them from our communication, which does lead to more confidence. So I'd like you to start taking notice of some of the words and phrases you may be using in everyday verbal or written communication. So, for example, using words like just, actually, or almost, as in, I just think, or I actually disagree, or I almost suggest that these words indicate to ourselves or others that we are not quite sure about what we are about to say. How about we remove them from your vocabulary? See how much more confident that will make you feel. How about when we unnecessarily apologize by saying, sorry to bother you, but I've been told by a friend that I do this quite a lot. Maybe because of my Canadian upbringing, who knows, but where, we apologize a lot. But I have made a very conscious effort to remove these words from my vocabulary. Why am I apologizing? Think about that. What about when we say, am I making sense? Or does that make any sense? Instead of saying, I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Hi, my friend. Kavita here. Do you often feel blocked from moving forward? We all feel that way at times. These are referred to as energy blocks. I've created a short, actionable PDF guide to help you release your negative energy blocks. Click the link in the description to download it now for free. Now, let's get back to the episode. What about when we say, I'm no expert, but implying that you have no authority, when in fact you probably are the greatest expert in your field? Other things we may do to undermine our confidence is to hide our point of view behind a question like, does everyone feel sure about this direction? Versus saying, I think this is the wrong direction. So consider some of these words that you may be using either verbally or in your written communication and try and reduce or eliminate them from your repertoire. So, again, if you can, pause the video, or if not, come back to it later. But think about these reflection questions. Firstly, take note of any of the undermining speech habits, which I just went through, that you may be using in your everyday communication. Which ones do you tend to use the most? Make a concerted effort to eliminate these from your vocabulary, and you will see if that changes your level of confidence. And then, secondly, ask yourself, where do you think these habits have come from? When we know the source of what we do, sometimes that helps to eliminate those actions. So, we've talked about the thoughts we think and the words we say. And now let's talk about the actions that we take or maybe do not take that undermine our confidence. There are certain things that we do as women, especially, which stop us from taking action and being confident in our next steps. So as I go through these, ask yourself, do these things sound like something that you would do or not do? Do you find yourself hiding behind the following actions? So think about this. The first one, we think we have to do this before that, or I have to get this done first before I can do the next thing. We are expert multitaskers. You can do multiple things. Number two, asking too many people's opinions about a decision or action instead of relying on your own intuition or opinion. Rely on your own opinion, my friend, and you'll see how confident you become. Number three, making sure that everything is absolutely perfect before you put it into the world, such as when we post on social media, for example, or when we may be writing a book or anything that we put out there in the world. Perfectionism can stall us and keep us from confidently putting ourselves out there in the world. What if we put it out messy? Who really cares? Number four, feeling like you need to become more qualified, more educated, more knowledgeable before you can do the thing. This is such a common one. I think that I should have put it first. I want to tell you that you are qualified enough. You are unique. You are knowledgeable enough right now. Number five, using other people's ideas rather than being confident in your own, such as sharing your own personal stories versus giving other people's stories as examples. Share your story, your own story, my friend. I have to say, I was very guilty of this when I first started this new journey, but now I feel more and more comfortable in putting myself out there with my own story. In my next solo episode, I will give you a framework for telling your story confidently, so stay tuned for that. And number six, don't negotiate. What we do sometimes and often, in fact, is we don't negotiate our true value. For example, for a higher salary or promotion, I'm going to ask you right now, what is holding you back from receiving the value that you are worth? So, do any of these actions or non actions sound familiar to you? I would hazard to guess that some of them may resonate with you, if not many of them. So, again, stop the audio right now if you can, or come back to them later and complete these exercises below, the questions below. Firstly, go through some of these actions that I've mentioned and ask yourself, do you relate to any of these actions or non actions? And which ones do you tend to do more of and why? And then, secondly, ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen? For example, let's say, what if I did put my story out there? What's the worst thing that could happen? Instead, think, could other people learn from my story? And number three, let's to stretch yourself a little bit. If you were a brand, how would you describe yourself with confidence? How would you confidently portray your brand? So, my dear friend, the thoughts you think, the words you say, and the actions you take or do not take are important. By realizing some of these things that we do in our lives, we can begin to reverse them and become more confident in ourselves so we can move forward when before we may have believed we were stuck. I hope these tips have helped you. And I have a wonderful one sheet reminder called the Daily Habits to Building Confidence, which I would really love you to have. I use it myself every day. I have actually printed it out and placed it on the wall in front of me. And every time I feel a bit insecure, I take one or two tips from the guide and implement it. If you'd like this guide, I'm really happy to give it to you. Just email me at Kavita, that's Kavita at itsmytimenowcoaching.com. Again, that's Kavita, Kavita at itsmytimenowcoaching.com, and reply with the words confidence guide, and I'm happy to send it to you. So, if these tips and tricks on how to build your confidence have helped you, know that I go deeply into these and other steps in my process called the Pyramid of Reinvention in my online self directed course called It's My Time Now. If you like to learn independently, this course is for you. And if you're not sure if this is suited for you or you prefer one on one or group coaching, reach out to me and we can figure out what is best for you. I am currently gauging interest in a small group coaching program for a maximum of 15 women beginning this fall for 6 90-minute weekly life coaching sessions. Just wanted to get your opinion. Are you interested in something like this? If so, email me again at Kavita, Kavita, at itsmytimenowcoaching.com, and let's discuss what will work best for you. I'm here and open to your growth and development. So whatever really suits you best will suit me. So remember, email me at Kavita at itsmytimenowcoaching.com and we can figure out what's best for you. In the meantime, I also have a wonderful and quick quiz which you can take right now to determine how fulfilled you really are right now in your career and life. It takes less than a minute to complete, but will give you a fulfillment score, followed by valuable information on what may be blocking you from moving forward. Check it out in the show notes now and complete this short, insightful quiz today. Thank you so much for being here, for listening, for doing the exercises, and for sharing this podcast. My goal and my wish is for as many women as possible to live their lives being confident, happy, and fulfilled. Will you help me spread the word? Until next time, my friend, stay well, stay motivated and confident. And all my love until next time. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope this episode gave you some practical tips on how to boost your confidence as you face career and life transitions. I'm really excited to share that I will be speaking at an upcoming summit, and I'll be joined with a group of powerful women at the upcoming Menopause Empowerment Summit. This summit is a virtual summit being held on July 23rd and 24th from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You will be hearing about the impact of hormones, exercise, and lifestyle in menopause, and I will be discussing how to shift your beliefs in order to make this the most empowering stage of your life. In this talk, you will learn about the importance of rediscovering your reason for being, or ikigai, during midlife. You'll learn how to harness the power of anabolic energy to open up a world of possibilities for you. And you will learn methods to uncover blocks and gain confidence in yourself during this life transition. For attending the summit, you will receive a free 45-minute coaching consultation with me, access to the Empowering Career and Life Fulfillment quiz, and for VIP members or guests, 50% off my online and comprehensive course, It's My Time Now. So don't delay. Register today at www.powerupyourmenopause.com today. That is www.powerupyourmenopause.com today. And I'd love to see you there. Thanks again.